Before sunrise on an April morning in Midlothian, Texas, a woman named Missy Bevers walked into an empty church carrying gym bags full of exercise equipment. She had no way of knowing that someone else was already inside, waiting for her, dressed head to toe like a police officer in full tactical gear. Within minutes, Missy would be dead, and the person responsible would walk calmly back out into the dark, leaving behind one of the strangest and most chilling unsolved murders in modern American history. Terry Leanne Bevers, known to everyone as Missy, was born in August of 1970 in the small town of Graham, Texas. She grew up, married a man named Brandon in 1998, and built a life with him in the town of Red Oak, raising 3 daughters together. By 2016, Missy had become a well-liked fitness instructor, running early morning boot camp classes for a company called Camp Gladiator. Her regular spot was the parking lot of Creekside Church of Christ in Midlothian, a quiet, unremarkable congregation that had generously let her use their grounds for months. On the night of April 17th, a heavy thunderstorm rolled through the area, and with rain expected to continue into the early morning hours, Missy made a simple, practical decision. She told her students that instead of meeting outside in the parking lot as usual, class would be held indoors, inside the church itself. It was the kind of small, last-minute change that happens all the time. No one could have guessed it would cost Missy her life. Surveillance cameras inside the church captured Missy arriving at 18 minutes past 4 in the morning. She was hauling her equipment in from her truck, getting everything set up for a 5 a.m. class, moving through the halls the way she must have moved through them dozens of times before. That footage is the last time she was ever seen alive. Shortly after 5 o'clock, one of Missy's students arrived for class and stepped into the church, expecting to find her instructor waiting. Instead, she found Missy's body. Police and paramedics were called immediately, but there was nothing anyone could do. Missy had been struck with numerous puncture wounds to her head and chest, injuries investigators would later say were consistent with tools that had been carried through the building that morning. Among the items recovered near her body was a hammer. At first, detectives wondered if they were looking at a burglary that had spiraled into violence, but nothing about the scene supported that theory. Nothing was missing. Missy's purse was untouched. Her iPad sat right where it had been left. Whoever did this hadn't come for money or valuables. Some investigators came to believe the scene had been deliberately staged to look like a break-in gone wrong. An attempt to throw off exactly the kind of theory the police initially considered. Detectives also found indications that the killer had been carrying a smartphone, and they believe it's possible Missy actually spoke with her killer before the attack took place. Whatever happened between them, it happened in a matter of minutes, in the dark, empty hallways of a church. The image that would come to define this case, the one that has haunted true crime audiences for years, came from the church's own internal surveillance cameras. The exterior cameras happened to be malfunctioning that particular morning, but the ones inside were working perfectly, and what they captured was unlike almost anything seen in a murder investigation before. In the footage, a figure moved slowly through the church hallways, sometime around 4 in the morning, dressed from head to toe in what looks unmistakably like SWAT gear. A black, tactical helmet, black gloves, a vest marked in bold letters with the word police. The figure wanders the corridors, occasionally smashing glass and trying door after door, almost as if searching for something or someone. Separate footage is known to show Missy walking those same hallways before her death, though police have never released that particular clip to the public, and they've never revealed exactly where or how the two crossed paths. For years, one of the most debated details in the entire case has been the way this figure walks. Investigators noticed something unusual right away, a slow, uneven gait, with the person occasionally steadying themselves against the wall, seemingly struggling to move their right leg or foot. At first, police assumed they were looking for a man. Later, they walked that back, acknowledging that while the walk had what some described as a feminine quality, the true sex of the suspect couldn't be confirmed. In 2021, the FBI brought in a forensic podiatrist, Dr. Michael Nierenberg, specifically to study that walk. His conclusion complicated things further. He explained that the heavy gear and weapons the suspect was carrying would naturally affect how anyone walked, regardless of their gender, and that gait alone simply couldn't be used to determine whether the killer was a man or a woman. Naturally, in a case this strange, investigators looked hard at the people closest to Missy. Her husband and her father-in-law were both questioned, and their alibis were checked. For a moment, suspicion flared around the father-in-law when a search warrant revealed that, just 4 days after the murder, he had brought a blood-stained shirt to a dry cleaner. It was an unsettling detail that made headlines, but he explained the blood came from 2 family dogs that had gotten into a fight. And when Midlothian police ran forensic tests on the shirt, they confirmed his story. There was no human blood on it at all, only blood from the dogs. That lead, like so many others in this case, ultimately went nowhere. One piece of physical evidence has continued to generate public interest for years. About a month after the murder, investigators released a still image showing a Nissan Altima, likely a 2010 to 2012 model, behaving strangely in the parking lot of a nearby sporting goods store called Swefa Outdoors, just a couple of hours before Missy was killed. The car pulled in around 2 in the morning and left again only minutes later. Months later, the store released the full surveillance footage, which showed the car circling the empty lot, its headlights flashing on and off seemingly at random before it parked in a secluded corner for a few minutes and then pulled away onto the highway. To this day, that driver has never been identified, and police still haven't been able to say for certain whether the car has anything to do with what happened at the church that morning. The reward for information in Missy's case has grown substantially over the years. It began at $10,000, then doubled, then climbed to $50,000. As of 2021, anyone with information that helps identify and capture the person responsible stands to receive $150,000. Midlothian police say tips still come in on a near-daily basis, even now, years after the murder. Public interest in the case has never really faded. A true crime podcast called True Crime Broads was launched specifically to keep the case alive in people's minds, and its creators maintain a billboard that continues to advertise that reward to this day. As recently as 2026, Midlothian police have said publicly that they do not consider this case cold. There are, according to investigators, unnamed persons of interest that law enforcement continues to look at. But no arrest has ever been made. No name has ever been confirmed. The person in that SWAT gear, whoever they were, walked out of Creekside Church of Christ that morning and effectively vanished, leaving behind only a few seconds of grainy footage and a walk that experts still can't fully explain. What makes this case so unsettling isn't just the violence of it, or even the strangeness of a killer dressed like law enforcement moving through an empty church before dawn. It's the deliberateness. Nothing was stolen. Nothing was random. Someone planned this, prepared for it, and executed it with a kind of calm precision that still defies easy explanation nearly a decade later. Missy Bevers left behind a husband and 3 daughters, a community that adored her, and a mystery that has never been solved. Somewhere, someone knows who put on that uniform, walked those hallways, and waited in the dark for her to arrive. Until that person is found, Missy's family and a small Texas town will keep waiting for answers that so far have refused to come. If you have any information about the murder of Missy Bevers, you're encouraged to contact the Midlothian Police Department.